Welcome to the Frontline with FPM, where we talk about California politics, homeschool freedom, parental rights, and the family. I'm your host, Nathan Pierce, and thanks for joining us today. Let's jump right in and see what's going on here on the Frontline. Hi, folks. Today we get to be here together, Drew and I, in the same place to do our recording. And we wanted to wish you all a Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Drew.
Happy New Year.
Awesome. We're excited to be together for a little while here during Drew's break from school and the beginning of the 23 activity in the California legislature, which is proving to be quite busy.
Yeah,
so
right away.
Which is why we have Capitol Day coming up pretty soon in January, just a couple of weeks away here. And so hopefully you can join us for that. We'll be talking about some announcements about that, some exciting news at the end of this podcast. But so stay tuned for that. That'll be great.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
But to get started today, we're going to just talk about a few things that we're really thankful for reviewing and looking back at 2022. We did publish a web post has a few more items on it called 8 Ways that we've been able to make a difference with your help. And so you're welcome to check that out. We'll put a link below for that. But we also wanted to just talk through a couple of them on here. One is just the volume of legislation that we dealt with last year, and some specific items as well. But we've talked about a lot of those a number of times already. But there's just a lot of bills introduced here in California.
Yeah, over 2,500 a year. So about 5,000 every 2-year session, and so it keeps us plenty busy.
Yeah. So we're thankful that we came through last year with still all our homeschool freedoms intact, and really had some great successes in individual legislative battles, but also just as a whole, getting through that many bills without impact significantly, specifically to homeschooling. Homeschooling is still what it was before, and so we're really thankful for that.
Yeah, maintaining how it's been, maintaining the freedoms we have is really the bottom line, and so I'm really glad that we were able to keep that going strong all throughout, despite multiple bills that would have been a huge problem. So
we're glad of all that. And looking at this year, we've already been involved with interacting with legislators, staff on a number of bills already this year, doing research and trying to understand better the direction that some of these bills are going. And I think we have our hands full already.
They've already introduced about 100 or 200 bills, and it's been less than a month. So and they've been on break for half of that, so they're really just picking up speed, and they have about 30 days left to introduce about 1,800 more bills.
Right.
So
so there's going to be a flurry of activity in the coming weeks, and so pray for us for that, and stay tuned for updates on things that might impact us and our freedoms. So moving forward from that, our interaction with the agencies and with legislators and offices has been better in recent years. Our just ability to engage with them in a friendly way has been really important and really helpful in maintaining freedoms, particularly with this California Department of Education. It's been really helpful to be able to interact with them and engage on issues that are of concern to homeschoolers, and especially with the sort of boom in homeschooling through COVID shutdowns and shifts in people's thinking about education. We've seen a new wave of homeschoolers and that even with a good number of those returning back to traditional schools, there's sort of a there's certainly a remnant of those new folks that have stayed with homeschooling, and also I would say sort of a new outlook on on education, both in California and across the country.
Yeah.
And maybe a change in a perspective on homeschooling.
Yeah. And I think what comes with that is a lot of really non-legislative regulation. So there's a lot of in essence, they're laws that are made without going through the legislative process because of how big the California state government is, because of how much bureaucracy is at play constantly. Having a foot in the door, having people that we can contact at these agencies, at these major departments, it's almost as valuable, if not more so, than having those contacts in legislatures or in legislators' offices, because they have just as much impact on the day-to-day lives of Californians as these legislators do now.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's been, I mean, there's constantly more regulations and new rules being, kind of looked for by these departments. And so having points of contact with them is really helpful.
Yeah, they have their hands full down there at the California Department of Education.
Yeah.
With California being the state with the largest population by far in of any state in the union. There's just a lot of schools in California, and so being able to be in contact with the folks at the department is really helpful.
Yeah.
To making sure that our freedoms stay intact, and that we're able to function as smoothly as possible. And so we're really grateful for that ongoing relationship there, and hopefully that will continue. So you can pray for that for that in the future as well. The other item that we wanted to mention too, that we accomplished last year, certainly not on our own, was publishing some results of a study that was done over the last couple of years on homeschooling in California. And it's a state-specific study on homeschooling. And if you haven't seen it yet, seen the report on that yet, I would really encourage you to take a look at that. We'll put a link in the notes below, but check that out. It's really fascinating. That of all the studies, there have been 30 nationwide studies on homeschooling, and some others, but of all the research done on homeschooling, the results are very consistent, showing that homeschool students academically do very well, and that this study that we were able to do in conjunction with CHIA of California and National Home Education Research Institute, along with Bob Jones University Press Homeschool, they have helped us do this report that shows that all of that stuff is still the same in California for California homeschool families. And we're really, really grateful to be able to have that study done in order to be able to share it with you all, but also to be able to share it with legislators at the Capitol. And we'll be doing just that at Capitol Day, because it's in our legislator packet when we go and deliver packets of information on homeschooling to the legislators.
And I mean, with these results, these are just as important for these departments that we were talking about to see as it is for legislators to see them, because a lot of these people in government and really across the state, people that don't have the experience in with homeschooling, or they don't know much about it, hearing these results with how well homeschoolers are doing, especially with how hard a hit public schools took during COVID, it really does surprise people, seeing the performance. I mean, in every subject, this study was finding that homeschoolers are doing well and above what a lot of other methods of schooling are producing, especially right now.
Yeah,
So
15 to 30 percentile points higher than the average student.
yeah,
That's how homeschool students perform.
yeah.
And like you said, across the board on all subjects. So
Yeah, and I think that's what's driving a lot of families to stick with homeschooling, is they're seeing an increase like this, right? I mean, I have experience, with people that I know, with family, that have said, hey, we're sticking with this, because people that weren't homeschooling before, they just said, this is working for me, and we're gonna keep doing it.
yeah,
So
yeah, it's exciting to see. It's exciting for the kids too, to see that progress being made. So so that's been a huge milestone for us. Part of it was because some of our statistics, some of our data that we've been using to share with legislators and others, has been getting more and more dated, and so it's really nice to be able to have fresh numbers. So thank you to all of you that participated in that study. It's huge to have that done, and we hope to be able to continue that work in the future, to have regularly updated studies and reports to share with the legislature. We really need that data to share with the legislators and agencies to make sure that they can see that homeschooling is doing well and doesn't need new requirements to hold people to a high standard, because it's already doing so well. So thank you to all of you that participated in that. We couldn't have done it without you. So and that brings us sort of full circle back to what we use that for in one part of our work, which is Capital Day, coming up here on the 18th and 19th of this month, just a few days from now.
Yeah, it's less than 2 weeks away now.
Yeah.
So
we really are hoping that you'll join us, and if you haven't applied and registered, certainly get on that. We only have a few seats left, and I think there are a couple left.
Just a few. Yeah, just a few. I think there's a number of people left that are still in the application process, because it's 2 steps: application, and then if you're approved, then you register.
And just a reminder, it is a pre-register only event. It's not, there's no at the door registration for this event, so please be sure, because it's going to be full. And so don't plan on just showing up. Be sure that you apply, that you get registered fully, and that you get your confirmation packet. So also, we have some announcements about that.
We've got some exciting speakers. So we actually will have legislators speaking. We'll have Senator Brian Jones. He's the minority leader in the Senate now, state Senate, not
elected,
not on the federal level, but Senator Brian Jones. He's spoken at Capitol Days previously. He's a really great friend to our Capitol Day program, and so and then we'll have Jeremiah Lorig from Generation Joshua. He's worked on a national level with how would you I would describe what he does as, well, for us, as storytelling. He's really engaging as a speaker. I love seeing him speak. So I don't know, how would you describe it?
He does work on policy, and has had a couple of different things that he's worked on over the years, on policy in the realm of homeschooling, with HSLDA, but also has been very involved in teaching youth in civics, and engaging them with the program that he helps run over there called Generation Joshua. Incredible program, and he does an excellent job over there, and we're looking forward to having him speak. I certainly am.
So the value of American history.
For sure, absolutely. And so after that, we have you mentioned Senator Brian Jones. We have
another Brian, Brian Eschen, the director of IPS, the Institute for Principal Studies. So they're basically an organization that, similar to Generation Joshua, provides education to parents, families, leaders, about the biblical role of government. And so there's a number of things he'll be speaking on, but that'll be the main focus, is really just what is it here for? What does the Bible say about it?
How do you think clearly and rightly about government? And I think he does. Brian has a real heart for this topic, and so I'm excited to see Brian there and to hear from him what he has to say. And then we have Frank Erb. Frank has been around for a number of years. If you've been to Capitol Day before, you probably have met Frank. And he's sort of a missionary pastor to the Capitol. And we'll be talking about how we can pray for our leaders, but also how to have the right mindset about who they are, and how we can be having a right mindset when it comes to engaging with them and praying for them. So it's important to remember to pray for our leaders, and Frank will help us to think rightly about that. So, yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's got a real heart for it. I'm glad we were able to find a spot for him to speak, because he's already running 2 Bible studies at the Capitol that day. So
yeah,
he really does have a heart for these people, not just legislators, but all their staff, everybody involved there. And hearing from him and hearing just the heart he has for sharing the gospel in really what is a really dark place, this environment, it's definitely changed my perspective on, it's very easy to just think of them as, people we agree with, people we disagree with, but they are all people, and they're all, souls in need of the gospel. So and there are other speakers that will be getting confirmed in the days ahead, but we're really excited with the lineup that we have for this coming Capitol Day. And also I want to mention too that right before Capitol Day this year is the evening before, I believe it's the evening of the 17th. She is running an evening for leaders, homeschool group leaders, or people that are interested in starting a homeschool group. So I would encourage you to check that out if you're going to be in the area and are interested in that. It's certainly something that you'll want to not miss. And then also just after Capitol Day, there's also a couple of homeschool debate tournaments happening in the area. One of which is one of our sponsors. So we're really excited about that. So there's lots to do. Certainly lots to do. Busy time.
We have tours scheduled for going through the historic state capitol building. We also will be able to send you over, if you're interested in touring the building where our state law library is and the California State Supreme Court sits. You can go in and visit those state Supreme Court chambers, and it's a pretty awesome experience. So if that's of interest to you, definitely check that out, and we'd love to see you there. So I think that's it for today. Thank you guys for listening, and we are really excited about Capitol Day coming up soon, and hope to see you there.
Really happy with everything that we got done, because of everybody's support in 2022 as well. We're hoping that Capitol Day is a good way to kick off 2023.
And hopefully with God's hand of protection, we will make it through 23 the same way, and keep our freedoms intact. And we appreciate your help in helping us to do that, and to being involved in maintaining our freedoms. So thanks to each of you, and certainly be sure to share this information with others so that we can get more people in the know on what's going on here in Sacramento with regards to homeschooling. So thanks again, and bye for now. Thanks for joining us for this episode of The Frontline with FPM. For more information about the topics we discuss here, check out Family Protection Ministries at fpmca.org and subscribe to our channel.